There's no need to stay awake. You can just close your eyes, listen softly, and let the quiet rhythms of history carry you off to sleep. Now, take a slow breath in and let it go. Let's begin. Long before Alexander became great, he was simply a boy named Alexandros. Born in the northern Greek kingdom of Macedon in a place called Pella, a city of dusty colonnades, low stuccoed buildings, and olive trees that swayed like slow dancers in the breeze. He was raised in the royal palace, a spacious but sun-warmed compound where servants moved about quietly, and the scent of cooked grains and garlic drifted from the kitchens. As a child, Alexander ate much like other noble Macedonians. In the mornings, perhaps a soft barley porridge, not too different from oatmeal, steamed gently in clay pots, seasoned with wild honey or crushed figs or a sprinkle of sesame seeds. Goat's milk would be warmed just enough to soothe the chill of the early hour. He didn't have the breakfast cereals or sugar-laced bread we might imagine today. Instead, foods were simple, filling, designed to give strength for running, riding, and training under the hot sun. Bread was a staple, baked flat and hard, often stored for days. It might be dipped in olive oil or softened with wine, sometimes rubbed with garlic or herbs. Even as a child, Alexander was taught discipline. His father, King Philip II, believed that luxury made men weak. So meals were often modest, not feasts, but fuel. Still, once in a while, there were small luxuries: fresh fish from the Thermaic Gulf, grilled and served with lemon and dill, or dates, sweet and sticky, brought by traders from the south. Alexander's favorite treat? According to some stories, a slice of rich cheese wrapped in fig leaves, aged just enough to crumble softly on the tongue. It's hard to know for sure, but the image lingers. A small boy on a palace step, nibbling cheese while watching soldiers drill in the courtyard. Years later, when Alexander set out to conquer the Persian Empire, he brought with him tens of thousands of men, foot soldiers, cavalry, engineers, scouts, cooks, even musicians. Feeding such a force was a monumental task. They couldn't afford to carry everything. Most of their food came from the lands they passed through: grains from fields, fruit from trees, meat from animals they brought or found. The soldiers ate plainly: flatbread cooked on hot stones, lentils boiled in iron pots, flavored with garlic and onion, sometimes dried fish or goat meat, salted so it wouldn't spoil, and water, lots of water, often stored in goatskin bags, cooled in rivers, or flavored with vinegar to kill off any dangerous bacteria. Alexander himself, though a king, often shared the same food. He believed in leading by example. When supplies were scarce, he refused water unless everyone could drink. When the sun baked the earth and men grew thin, he ate only what the army had: cheese, olives, hard bread, dried figs. The occasional rabbit, caught and roasted. Sometimes they foraged wild greens, arugula, mustard leaves, and herbs gathered by the roadside. They would boil these into broths to keep up strength. There were cooks, of course, soldiers assigned to prepare food. And as the campaign moved deeper into Asia, new flavors appeared: rice from Persia, spices from India, strange fruits they had never seen before. The army began to taste the world it was conquering. Despite the harshness of war, there were still moments of celebration. After a victory, or a wedding, or a long march, Alexander would sometimes allow a feast. These banquets were held in open tents or palace halls, always rich with sound, light, and fragrance. Roasted meats were laid out: lamb, beef, even peacocks in some cases. Large clay jugs held wine, often mixed with water and honey. There would be musicians, lyres, flutes, and dancers performing slowly under the torchlight. Alexander didn't always sit at the head. Sometimes he would dine among his generals. A bowl of seasoned rice, slices of roasted goat, wine in a silver cup, gently sipped, while the sounds of celebration hummed in the background. Spices were becoming more common. Cumin, coriander, saffron, carried along the routes they had opened. But Alexander didn't overindulge. He was known for his discipline, even in moments of luxury. He once scolded a man who served a lavish meal in a poor village, saying, "It's not the gold that makes a meal great, but the hunger that precedes it." Even in celebration, there was restraint. One of the great challenges of Alexander's campaigns was simply feeding everyone. The army included not only soldiers, but animals, horses, pack mules, elephants. For the animals, fodder had to be gathered daily. Grain, hay, water, all moved by cart and hand. The supply trains stretched for miles, leather sacks filled with grain, dried fruits packed in wax-sealed pots, cheese wrapped in cloth and dipped in oil to keep it from spoiling. Salt was a prized item, both for flavor and preservation. Soldiers sometimes carried personal rations in little pouches, dried figs, chickpeas, almonds, even smoked fish tied to their belts. They also had to be creative. When rations ran low, they bartered with local farmers or sent scouts ahead to find sources of water and food. It was said that in the deep deserts of Gedrosia, some men ate dates soaked in wine and cactus roots. Others lived on crushed grain mixed with goat's milk, a rough but nourishing porridge. Not every meal was pleasant, but it kept them going. At the end of the day, after the maps had been read and the fires lit, Alexander often sat quietly, sometimes alone, sometimes with a few close friends. He didn't always speak, just looked up at the stars. Maybe he sipped something warm, a wine infusion, or a spiced milk. Maybe a handful of almonds, perhaps nothing at all. It's easy to imagine him then, not as a conqueror, but as a traveler. A man wrapped in a cloak, listening to the wind across the sands, wondering what tomorrow would bring. These are the details that history often forgets. But in those small things, the bread, the figs, the gentle moments by the fire, we find the humanity of those we call great. And now, let's leave Alexander where he sits, beneath the open sky. Let the stars slowly spin overhead. Let the fire crackle low. The scent of baked bread, distant spice, warm milk, all fading into the gentle hush of ancient night. You've traveled far tonight, through kitchens, fields, tents, and palaces, and now it's time to rest. The past will keep. The world is quiet now. Close your eyes, let sleep come easily, and dream of gentle winds and olive trees, of golden halls and quiet cups of wine. Good night.